Ever wonder what's actually inside your crispy golden fish sticks? You might think it's just fish and breadcrumbs, but the reality? Well, let's just say, after watching this, you might never look at them the same way again. Because behind every crunchy bite lies a production process that's way more complex and surprising than you'd expect. And trust me, some of these factory secrets will leave you either fascinated or totally freaked out. But before we dive into the shocking truth, think fast. When was the last time you actually saw a whole fish that looked anything like a fish stick? Exactly. Stick around, because what you're about to see isn't just food science, it's an industrial masterpiece. Oh, and if you think fish sticks are just tiny fillets cut into perfect rectangles, well, brace yourself. The fish sticks making process. If you're picturing a fisherman carefully selecting a premium fillet, tossing it onto an assembly line, and cutting it into perfect little rectangles, think again. Instead, most factory-made fish sticks start with pollock, haddock, or hake, lean white fish that are mild in flavor and firm enough to hold their shape. And here's where things get interesting. Most of these fish are caught in massive industrial fishing vessels, where they're frozen at sea within hours of being pulled from the ocean. Why? Because a fish that isn't frozen immediately starts to degrade in texture and taste. Sounds great, right? But not all fish sticks are made from whole fillets. Minced fish is essentially the leftovers, the trimmings, bits scraped off bones, and whatever doesn't make the cut for whole fillets. Instead of being wasted, it's ground up into a paste and reshaped into something that looks like a solid piece of fish. Think of it like a chicken nugget. You love them until you start wondering what's really inside. The FDA requires fish sticks to be labeled as either made with whole fillets or minced fish, but most people never check. And here's the part nobody talks about. Minced fish can include more connective tissue, skin fragments, and even bloodline portions, giving some lower-end fish sticks that, let's call it, questionable texture. But before you panic and swear off fish sticks forever, you need to see what happens next. Because once the fish is selected, whether it's a fillet or paste, it has to be transformed into the familiar crispy shape we all recognize. And trust me, that's where things get even crazier. All right, so now we have the fish, whether it's a solid fillet or a mystery mash of minced parts. But how does it go from a random piece of seafood to a perfectly shaped golden brown stick? First, the fish is fed into high-speed cutting machines. If it's a fillet, it's sliced into precise rectangles, designed for maximum efficiency, meaning zero waste, perfect weight, and a shape that fits neatly into a frozen food box. But if the fish is minced, that's a different story. Instead of slicing, the minced fish paste is pressed into molds, forming perfectly uniform blocks. Think of it like Play-Doh, except it's fish, and it's about to be breaded and fried. Here's something you probably didn't know. Most factories use a forming process to ensure that every fish stick is identical. That's why every box you buy has the exact same size, shape, and texture. No surprises. But the process doesn't stop there. Now that the fish is shaped, it has to be coated and prepped for frying. Think about it. Would you really crave fish sticks if they were just plain, flavorless chunks of fish? Probably not. The secret to their mouth-watering crunch lies in two things: the batter and the frying process. First, every fish stick takes a quick dip in a batter bath. But this isn't just any batter. It's a carefully crafted mixture of flour, seasonings, and stabilizers designed to give each stick a consistent golden crust. After the batter dip, the fish sticks move under a controlled waterfall of breadcrumbs. Each crumb is the same size, ensuring an even, crispy texture. It's like giving the fish sticks armor before they face the frying oil. And speaking of oil, that's where things really start to heat up. Now, here's something most people don't realize. The fish sticks you buy at the store aren't fully cooked. They're partially fried, just long enough to set the crispy coating, but not enough to cook the fish inside completely. Why? Because if they fully cooked the fish, it would dry out when you baked it at home. So, how does this frying process actually work? The fish sticks pass through a massive industrial fryer, filled with hot oil kept at a precise temperature, usually around 350 degrees Fahrenheit. The same exact science applies to French fries, chicken nuggets, and onion rings. The frying lasts just 30 to 60 seconds, long enough to set the outer crust while keeping the inside moist and tender. When the fish sticks exit the fryer, they're still warm and delicate. If they were left to cool at room temperature, moisture would escape, making them dry and rubbery. That's why factories use blast freezing, a high-speed freezing method that locks in texture, flavor, and crispiness almost instantly. But here's the crazy part. The air inside a blast freezer is kept at negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit or even colder. That's twice as cold as your home freezer. Powerful turbine fans blast icy air over the fish sticks at high speed, pulling heat away within minutes. Ever pulled a bag of frozen veggies from the freezer and found them covered in icy frost? That happens when food isn't frozen quickly enough. But thanks to blast freezing, your fish sticks stay firm, flaky, and ready to crisp up the moment they hit the oven. Sounds perfect, right? Well, there's one more thing you should know. While some high-end brands rely solely on blast freezing to preserve freshness, others take a different approach. Some fish sticks contain additives like sodium triphosphate, a chemical used to help fish retain moisture. Sounds harmless, right? Well, did you know the same compound is used in detergents to soften water? And that's not all. To prevent oxidation, which makes fish turn rancid, some brands add sodium erythorbate or TBHQ, preservatives that extend shelf life but have been linked to controversial health concerns. Suddenly, that crispy golden fish stick doesn't seem so innocent anymore. Here's the big question. When you take a bite of a fish stick, are you eating a simple frozen piece of seafood or a highly processed, engineered food product? Think about it. If it's made from whole fillets, flash frozen, and coated with natural ingredients, not too bad. But if it's made from minced fish, packed with preservatives, and processed beyond recognition, well, that's a different story. Next time you're in the frozen food aisle, check the ingredients, because now you know exactly what to look for. Will you stick with your favorite fish sticks? Or will this change the way you see them forever? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to uncover more shocking factory food secrets, make sure to subscribe, because trust me, some of them are even crazier than this one.